Byintek is a brand of smart projectors that is not new. It has been around for many years and has several models, including LCD and DLP technology. But now Byintek has sent me one of its new models, the LOVE U12, a romantic name to make you fall in love with it. Today I am going to do all the tests on this new projector and we will see if it is worth it or not to consider buying it. But before I start, let me tell you that you can also take these 6 smart projectors in the 6th RIFA Tech Draw. Participate on my website, from this QR code or from the link in the description and win this tower of projectors, and shipping is free anywhere in the world. You already know, participate because this time luck could be with you and one of them could be yours. Now yes, let's go to the video. This is the original box of the Byintek LOVE U12, the new projector brought to us by the Byintek brand, and as you can see, it is not exactly a small box. Inside we find the projector well protected and a small box with the accessories, which are a start guide, a power cable, and a remote control in 2 colors, black and white, which looks very modern and pretty. Finally we have the projector, built in white plastic and in front a gray mesh. It has a square appearance with rounded corners, weighs 6 pounds and is practically the standard format of modern projectors. As you can see, it includes a safety cover to protect the 5 cm lens while it is not in use. It also includes a camera for autofocus, and behind this gray mesh are the 5-watt speakers. On both sides you have vents and on the top is the power button. On the back are all your connections: 1 Ethernet port, 2 USB inputs, 2 HDMI outputs, 1 audio and video output, 1 headphone output, the infrared receiver and the universal 110 to 220 volt AC input. And on the bottom you have 4 rubber feet, a 1/4 tripod thread, and on top of that, it has this extendable arm to achieve a better projection angle. In other words, it is a very well-equipped projector. The Byintek U12 costs $350 on AliExpress, although you can also get deals like this one for just $290. It's sturdy, nice, and well-equipped. It promises good video quality, which we'll see later. And it also has some pretty decent specs and the brand has a good reputation. But since I'm a bit of a naughty kid, I'm going to go a little further with this projector. Well, taking it apart wasn't exactly easy, because it has several covers to release and it's very risky to break the pressure tabs, although with the necessary skill, everything is possible. I was finally able to open it, but always paying attention to these flags that if broken would render the projector useless. Finally, I'll disconnect the camera and the infrared sensor to keep the block where the optical system and the main card are located. It's a standard configuration with sealed optics projection, but I see good build quality, and the best thing is that I also see the possibility of repair due to easy access to all its components, including the card and its processor. On the front there is a 3-speaker stereo sound system, with 2 mids and 1 bass, which gives it a good range of sounds. The lens integrates an autofocus mechanism based on a small brushed motor with gear and a limit switch sensor. The main board is on the top, quite far from the hotter side at the bottom where the power board is, and which, being integrated, makes this projector not need external adapters. And on one of its sides is the power LED with its large heatsink that is quite accessible for monitoring or repair. It is useful to know how to disassemble and how this type of projector is built, because it gives you an idea of its construction, its quality and the attention to detail during assembly. The U12 has a tripod socket, but I'll put it on this little table, with my living room partially lit, and first on my white screen, to see how it displays images on such a screen. This is the main interface of this projector. It's Android and customized by Byintek. From here, you can browse the system files or any USB you have connected. You can also enter the projector settings, which has almost all the focus features and automatic corrections, including the 4-point keystone correction, which is practically mandatory in every mid-range projector. Once I turn off the light in my living room, you can see better the potential of this U12 projector, and unlike a cheaper projector, the corners maintain focus quite well. It integrates a screensaver with some interesting images that help contrast the quality of this projector. In addition, it has up to 3 video outputs and some pre-installed applications such as, for example, YouTube. I have reviewed many full HD projectors like this one, and I always test it with 4K HDR content. to see how well it scales this content, and I have to say that I am quite pleased with these images. It has a very good fluidity and the colors are quite balanced, and remember that I am on my white screen, because later I will test it on my gray screen, to see the difference. The Byintek LOVE U12 is within the price range of mid-range projectors that include a good brightness of ANSI lumens above 600, a good 4K upscaling and a homogeneous focus across the entire screen. I say this because of the great proliferation of low-budget viral projectors out there now. A cheap projector will serve perfectly to watch any content, but its build quality leaves a lot to be desired and its specifications are limited, but you can't ask for more from them either. In a mid-range projector you invest a little more money, but it offers you an improved multimedia experience, like this widescreen multi-format. Also being able to see it with some ambient light, although it will always be better to see in the dark, and as they always suggest me to try them with dark images, here it is with a sequence of darker images where you can see that it also looks pretty good. So what can we say about high brightness images like cartoons? This type of content looks great on a projector like this and is where I most recommend using it for children, because children's eyes will not be exposed to the direct light of a television, but to the indirect light of a projector, and their eyes will thank them for it in the future. Now I will measure the light output of this projector, although I will actually estimate it because the projector is about 4 meters away. I usually measure the brightness in the center, although the theory says that 9 measurements should be made, averaged and multiplied by a factor, but that is very complex. The truth is that the brightness depends on the distance to the projector, and from here the brightness is around 450 lumens. I will also use my optical tester to measure the response time or input lag that this projector has. And I see that this data is not very good, since the input lag averages 160 milliseconds. That is not good for competitive games, although perhaps yes, for casual games. As for noise, it is not extremely quiet, but it is not excessively loud either. I would say that it is acceptable, and with the sound of its speakers, it will easily be hidden. The best thing is its sound, since it has a great audio output power and it also sounds very good.
El WRC, que este año celebra su 10º aniversario, mostró claramente el principal vector de desarrollo de la robótica para los próximos 10 años, y son los robots antropomórficos.
Now it's time to test it on a gray screen made with reflective fabric. First of all, we're going to adjust the projection on the screen and adjust it in its 4 corners, and although with light, here you can see a pretty good improvement compared to the white screen, but I'd better turn off the light to see better. The use of a gray screen is when you want to optimize and maximize the amount of light that is reflected towards your eyes, because as you can see on the periphery of the screen, it looks practically dark. In other words, very little reflected light is wasted towards my room, as it happens with my white screen, where a lot of reflected light is wasted and goes where it shouldn't go, and illuminates my room. That is, the white screen is not selective. Unlike that, the gray screen is more efficient and selective in its reflection, since it redirects the light only forward, and that's why more light reaches your eyes. Of course, I'm not saying that the gray screen is perfect, as many people don't like it because they say it saturates the colors and images and that when you look at it at an angle it loses brightness. But these are the advantages and disadvantages that you have to consider when you want to buy one. Personally, I do like it because it gives a more cinematic look to the images and because it's also the best way to see a projector in half light and not in total darkness. But everyone will have their own opinion, so put yours in the comments. I wouldn't recommend a projector for a place with a lot of ambient light like my living room, and even less on a white screen. If you have a darker room, it might work for you, but you can see how the excess ambient light contaminates the images. This is the best you can see with the LOVE U12, at least on my white screen and with a lot of ambient light. But if I change the conditions and now test it on my gray screen, you'll see that there is a very important difference. I'm at the same time, but now the images acquire a more intense color and better contrast. In other words, the difference in brightness and contrast between both screens is indisputable, but since I'm sure your living room isn't as bright, in your case you could see better on both screens. Now, look at the real difference between a white screen and a gray screen projecting the same content, and I think this will remove any doubt. Although not everything is happiness, because as I told you, when looking at the gray screen at a high angle, it will also lose brightness. So don't exaggerate with the viewing angle, or preferably, look at it head on. The Byintek LOVE U12 is a long throw projector that needs to be 5 meters away to project about 200 inches, although I always recommend about 120 to get the best projection. The brand is prestigious and its products have good build quality. In addition, in the tests I have done, it has shown me good performance that puts it within my quality standard in the mid-range. Byintek brings us this new option to have a home theater and compete with the dozens of brands that are coming out. So far I have liked its performance and the price is in line with its specifications. You have already seen the tests in different scenarios and I think it has performed quite well. Now you have the last word. The Byintek LOVE U12 is a mid-range projector that could easily win the sympathy of any user. It has enough brightness, looks great and sounds good, and I think it is an excellent candidate for having a super home theater. If you value my content, please subscribe and help me reach the goal of 1 million subscribers and continue creating this type of content that I know you like. Help me, and let's democratize technology. Until the next video.